It's Deadpool Samurai.
What are you wearing?
It's my Snorlax beanie. Because I'm now a Snorlax.
I believe that. I 100% believe that, and I love that for you.
Yep. I got my Snorlax beanie yesterday at round 1. I got my Naruto figure. Look how beautiful he is at round
He's
1.
beautiful.
And then I got these two. So they had both of these. It's Deadpool Samurai 1 and Deadpool Samurai 2 for like months now at Walmart. And I was like, okay, I'll hold off on getting them. They'll have them there forever, so it's fine. And instead, I was like, okay, it'll be at Target. Wasn't at Target. It'll be at Vintage Stock. It wasn't at Vintage Stock. Oh, it'll be at this place. It wasn't there. I finally found them at Half Price Books yesterday. So I was like, yep, these are mine now. It's literally the best combination. It's manga and Deadpool together.
I love Jacob so much.
That's the best line ever.
Oh man, you know what, Jeff? It's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
You need a pokey
you
flute.
Need rest.
Yeah, I need a pokey flute.
Yeah. Yes. Take a pokey flute. Tonight is going to be an amazing show. Mostly because Jeff is now a Snorlax. That will forever live rent-free in my brain. I've texted Stephanie to let her know it's showtime because I've told her probably about 7 times today that her favorite person ever is going to be on the show today.
All right.
And she's really disappointed that it wasn't live, where like Lena was here with us.
Right.
Although she's always here with me because I love me some Lena. I will go in history forever saying that. Jacob's watching, so thanks, Jacob. And hopefully Stephanie tunes in because she goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that, even though I was reminded 52 times today. Although I do want to point out before we bring Lena on, my office is so very empty right now compared to what it usually is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can thank my wife for that. Yes, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate that. So we are going to bring Lena on. For those of you who do not know Lena, why? Why don't you know Lena? That sounds like bad life choices. Lena is amazing. She has started Peaceful Whispers, and I don't want to mess it up any. So I'm going to let her tell us all about it, tell us what she does and how she does it. And hopefully we get to freak out Jeff.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm going to get freaked out.
Yes.
Bring the person on.
To start. Okay. Now I'm ready. I got my pokey fruit. All right, everyone. Let's meet Lena. Yay,
Hello.
Lena!
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Lena.
So is this one of those where we get to drink every time somebody changes the subject?
I don't have enough alcohol for
that. Listen, okay, so Lena and I have been frequent guests on a show called Darkness Tavern. Jeff, I know you've heard me talk about it a million times. Yeah. I love Darkness Live and Darkness Tavern. Hosted by our very good friends, Jeremiah and Stephanie. We love them. Hopefully one day they will see this. Hopefully, and we can start doing that again. But Lena and I have been on that show several times together. And we have a running joke that anytime someone changes the subject, we drink. Which usually doesn't end well, considering that I have an hour drive home after the show.
Spiritual activity.
Okay, thank you.
They excited too. They just excited too.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, you're talking to Lena? We love talking to Lena.
We want to talk to her. Us first.
Well, they probably could, actually.
I mean, yes, because that is something you do.
It is something I do.
Very well, in fact. So I'm going to tell everyone about my first interaction with Lena. So I was a part of a local paranormal group, and we had a case that was actually more of a How would you describe that weekend? It's like a tour.
Yeah, kind of. It was kind of like a tour / investigation /
It was like a public event. We'll say that.
Psychic fun and feast thing.
Yes. So on my way there, which is probably about a 2-hour drive roughly, everyone's telling me, "Oh, you get to meet Lena," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I like meeting people, especially people with the paranormal and things like that. I absolutely love that." Hi, babe. Get all the interruptions today, all the good ones. Yeah, you want to say hi to Lena? She just said she loves Lena. I don't know why she's whispering. I have no idea. So we went to this public investigation. I should probably drink for that one. So I went to this public investigation that I was a part of with the group, and Lena is sitting in the middle of this this very big room, like a very big lobby. She's at this table, and it's her, and I think her husband Dave was off to the side, kind of just chilling. And she has all these seats in front of her, and people like sitting and listening to her. And I was just like, okay, she's doing something. I thought she was just gonna be here, but she's actually doing something. That's cool. And she starts like things are coming to her, and she's like, I see a lion, I see this, I see that. And I'm looking around, like trying to figure out who's noticing what, or if someone's like, "Oh, that's me," whatever. And the leader, the head of our group, literally like looked at me with his eyes like this big and just walked outside. And I was like, "What's going on?" Well, his name's Leo, and she was seeing a lion. And the person that came forth to her was actually an old member of the group that had passed away. So that was my very first interaction. I was pretty impressed with that, but I was like, okay, all right, everyone gets one. I'm gonna be skeptical.
Hi, Jamie.
So then we went out to Lawrence to do a hotel out there for another public investigation. A couple months later, I believe it was, and Lena remembered me very vaguely, like, "Oh, hey, I know you from somewhere. Yeah, that's cool. Can I talk to you outside?" And I was like, "Okay." So me, Lena, and her husband went outside, and she was like, "Look, I usually don't do this because I hate freaking people out." She's a very modest person. Like, I love Lena. She's very, very humble and soft, and not like, "Hey, by the way," in your face. So I love that.
He doesn't know me very well. No.
Start. So she actually brought up some things that I have never told anyone ever. And Jeff, I'm not from Kansas, so it's not like she knows somebody who knows my family or something like that.
Right.
And she told me things that my grandmother has passed on to her to pass on to me. So that was pretty amazing.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. We were at the Eldridge in Lawrence. Yeah.
Yes, love that hotel.
Very haunted.
Very haunted. Love it though. You getting your pokey fruits?
Yep. My pokey slush.
So I do channeling. I read tarot. That's my main thing is tarot. I like to read tarot. But I do channeling at big events like special events. I also do readings with mediumship and channeling. So
he's a Snorlax.
The paranormal part of it, I used to do a lot of investigations, and I was kind of like a psychic consultant for various teams, that type of thing. So, but currently I'm teaching a lot of classes. So
I've heard about these classes.
That's fun. But we're working on all kinds of different events. We travel all over Kansas and Missouri. We're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee next year. We've been invited to North Carolina and Texas. So we've got a lot of travels coming up.
That sounds like so much fun. There's so much.
It is. And it's interesting because a lot of times we'll go to a place that, I'm not familiar with. People don't tell me stories about their buildings or whatever, and I'll walk in and be like, oh my gosh, it's so haunted. So kind of surprises people, shocks people a little bit.
She's actually done that at our hotel. So she had
your hotel. Hold on, I gotta tell you, that place. You did not warn me. And when I went in there, this old man was like jiggling door handles. I mean, he was like an older man who had passed. And he was jiggling door handles. And I'm just like, oh, great. It's haunted. He should have told me.
That would ruin the whole surprise.
It was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
But he was very active. He's very active in those hallways.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a running joke. Anytime a new person starts at the hotel, they'll be put up on like 3rd or 4th floor or something like that. And they'll be like, I saw the craziest stuff today. And without a beat, I'm just like, were you on 3rd or 4th? And they're like, how'd you know? And I'm like, oh, we've been here for years. We already know. Come on, you're new. You're the new one.
So 3rd floor is most active, or at least that's how I sensed it when I was there. But it's been a while since I've been out there.
That you have to come out soon. Hopefully we can make that happen. I'm crossing my fingers to try to make that happen.
Yeah. Would be amazing.
Yeah. And then we can tell Jeremiah that you're in town and we need to do Darkness Tavern.
Right?
That'd be so much fun. It's so much alcohol though. Like just so much.
It's always a beautiful thing. I don't usually drink though. Like I usually just have my Pepsi. So that's kind of my drink of choice these days.
Yeah, but we drink enough for you.
Every now and then I'll have a shot. Prefer
there
like
she is.
She's came.
Wild turkey. Hello, Stephanie.
Stephanie is infatuated with Lena, and I love it. I'm 100% in love with that. Since the
She's
first
amazing.
time, look at this connection right here, and boom, it was awesome just from the start.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
She is. I could definitely tell that she's like learned a lot just from asking you questions and all, because she's more confident in the things that she's feeling now, which I don't want to speak for her or anything like that. I love Stephanie. She's awesome, but she definitely has like a confidence boost in the things that she's like, yep, I can understand this now, instead of what the hell.
I'm a firm believer that everybody is born with these abilities. I think we just don't tap into them, and some people are more aware of it than others. And I do think that, it's kind of a special opportunity for me to be able to share it, but I don't necessarily see it as, something special about me. It's a gift for sure, but it's not me. It's not me. I can't take credit for the things that I pick up on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So, if you could give us like a little backstory about how you fully embraced your gift, or how you realized you had this gift.
First, I thought I was crazy. So, I kept the whole time growing up, I was seeing things or hearing things that people kept telling me they weren't there. It wasn't real. It was my imagination. Stop making up stories, that type of thing. I would have dreams and things like that would happen. And, I would tell other people, like my peers, like kids my age, that were in my, like on my school bus or in my classrooms. And I would tell them about the dreams, and then stuff would happen. And then they'd call me a freak or call me a weirdo, that type of thing. So I was always very afraid of it. And I think I was 17. Well, because I got married very young, and I was separated and divorcing my husband, and I was 17, and I was sitting on a bench in a cemetery with my mother was there. She was decorating some graves, and I hadn't been feeling well that day. So I was just kind of sitting there relaxing, and this person came up to me and he started talking to me. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Am I on your bench? Like I was going to move because I didn't want to be like in his way. I mean, it's a cemetery, right? He came there for a reason. So I'm just talking to him and having this conversation, and he's telling me this story about how he would come there, and see his wife every week, and they had this story about pink roses, like when he was real young and they had first gotten married, on their, like, one of their anniversaries, like the first anniversary or something like that, he had brought her some pink roses, and she didn't like pink roses. So she told him that, and she told him that she just loved that he thought of her. So then it became this like thing. He would always bring her these pink roses every year. And it was just kind of their joke between them. And at that point, my mom, she walked up. The man had told me his name and all that. And so I was going to introduce her because she's like, who are you talking to? And I went to introduce her, and he was gone. And I thought I was losing my mind. So then I told my mom, I just really don't feel good. She said, okay, well, we'll go here in a minute. I got to go decorate this other grave. And excuse me, she went over to do that. And then while she was doing that, this woman walks up, and she's carrying some pink roses, and she starts talking to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. And so she starts telling the story about the pink roses, and she points to the headstone in front of us, and it's her husband. It has his name on it. And it was the guy I had just been talking to. So I got up and went to the van. And when I got into the van, I was like totally, just completely done. I was pretty much, I guess it was a car, not a van. We didn't have the van yet. But anyway, that doesn't matter. When I got home, I called the local mental health place, and I was like, I think I need therapy. And they said, why? And I said, because I think I see dead people. And they were like, oh, why do you think you see dead people? I said, because I'm pretty sure I was talking to one. And they said, why? And I said, because I know that I was talking to somebody. He was there, but he wasn't there. And so they got me in the next day. And after that, they did like this thing where they talked to me and did some sort of analysis and decided that I was bipolar because I was hallucinating. And I was pretty sure that I wasn't crazy, but it took about, probably about 8 years before I had proof that I wasn't crazy. And that was when my husband saw a little girl that I saw also. And then I was like, okay, now I want to learn more. But by then I had already started reading tarot for my own spiritual purposes to help with my anxieties and my depression and all the things that I was going through that these labels kind of helped me have. You know what I mean? Right. So it was a beautiful thing to discover my own spirituality, my own faith in that. And so the tarot to me was more like a tool of being able to find my path, which I thought would help others if I shared that. And so when I did find out that I wasn't crazy and I was seeing dead people, I started kind of doing a little more research into that. And then I learned about spirit guides, and I realized that this woman that I had been seeing for years in my dreams was also a spirit guide for me. And so after that, it was like one thing led to another. And I just kind of went through it as if it was just for me. I never was reading publicly or anything like that at that point, just for friends, family, and me. So it took me a long time before I finally started reading publicly. In fact, the first time I read publicly was with Jeremiah. And it was, well, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. I read publicly one time prior to Jeremiah's previous radio show back in the day. And that was a thing with Kathy Ramirez from Ghost Tours of Kansas. She was doing a paranormal thing. Yeah, and she was having me come and speak as a guest speaker because I was doing some writing for Examiner. So, but it was definitely a interesting first visit with reading publicly on that radio show. I gotta be real with you, because I'd never done that over like internet or, you know, phones or anything like that. It was always like just readings in person. And I read Jeremiah on that show. So he was a little surprised.
He's always a fun character.
Yeah, he was a little surprised by some of the things I said. And that kind of just led to everybody kind of pulling me into different groups. I did consultations with Everyday Legacy Paranormal. I did consultations with several other paranormal groups. And I still sometimes continue to work with paranormal groups.
Yeah, hopefully, real soon, hopefully, you'll be working with Phantom's Keep as well.
That would be
Yeah, as soon as we can get that ball rolling and get all those details squashed out.
right.
I mean, I'm very happy that you thought you were crazy and it led you on this path, to be honest with you. I know that for me personally, and I can probably even speak to my wife here, that your readings have definitely helped us in ways that we couldn't understand for ourselves and needed some sort of validation from them.
Well, I appreciate that because, we can't know if we're doing anything right or accurate unless people tell us. So, because we just get what we get, and then we never really know whether it's just
right,
us
like,
crazy or real.
Here's this. I don't know if it helps, but there it is.
Right.
I have to say, my wife grew up very sheltered from anything like this, and Jeff, Jamie, she's it was all devil worship when she was growing up. That's what her mom told her. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. So she was very sheltered. So when she got with me, a paranormal investigator, it kind of was like shell shock, like, you worship the devil? And I'm like, no, I do not. Why are you reading here? Yeah. What are those magical like little cards you have? Are they going to tell me I'm going to die? No. Well, maybe, but no. But so
it's
Jamie,
very rare that they'll tell us that, actually.
Yeah.
And, I think the reason why is because if they did tell us that, it might change our path. Like, we might do things differently than we would normally choose free will wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but we do sometimes see it.
Tavern with her and you, and she was just like, I don't know, babe. I don't really believe in any of this. Like, I believe in what you do because we lived in a haunted house for a couple of years, and she got real used to it real quick because you kind of had no other choice.
Your house was really haunted.
Oh
Not
my
even
God!
just like a little bit.
Jeff, did I ever tell you about that house in Augusta?
The trailer? Or no, the house in Augusta. No.
So it was a 1-bedroom house, and 2-bedroom technically, because upstairs was just this giant room.
Okay.
And that's where I had all of my paranormal investigation stuff, all of my work stuff. It was basically like my office, but not as cool looking as all of this.
Okay.
So we would be downstairs watching TV, and we could literally hear upstairs things being thrown, boxes being moved. There was one night I went running up there with my gun because I was sure somebody was breaking in through my window for some odd reason on the second story because of the amount of noise that was actually coming from that room. It was crazy. Like, mirrors would bust suddenly for no reason. Things would be thrown off the shelf. I've actually seen a tennis racket be thrown at me while looking at it, which was weird. Spaghetti pots. Jamie had a spaghetti pot thrown at her.
Crazy.
So that was she had scratch marks on her. It was a very dangerous time at that point, and that's why we moved very quickly.
Good plan.
Yeah, she kind of had to get used to the paranormal actually existing rather quickly. And then she meets Lena, and she's like, I don't know if I believe that much into it. So Jamie thought she would kind of be funny and ask Lena in a more elaborated way where our lost remote was. And Lena told us exactly where the remote was.
We weren't able to verify it.
What? What'd you say?
She said we couldn't verify it because at that point we had already thrown away the couch that you said it was in. But that made a lot of sense because you told us exactly where it was when she last saw it. So she lost the remote. It was her.
Well, and I'll be honest, there's times when I can find things, like if I do like a scrying, which basically is using a pendulum over a map. I can kind of draw like a map of a house or whatever and find something with the pendulum. But sometimes my guide will give me like weird statements to go with it. Like there was recently a case where I was asked to help find a wedding ring. And so I did the scrying trying to find it. My guide kept saying it was in the dirt. And so we did the scrying, and at first they didn't find the ring. It was I believed it to be in this certain spot, in this certain room, near a closet. And, based on what I was getting, and my guide just kept saying it was in the dirt. Like it was visible, but it was in the dirt. And so I kept telling them that, but we thought maybe like there was dirt on some clothes there or something like that, because it didn't make any sense that it would be in the dirt in the room, since there was like
in a potted plant.
Right, there was no like potted plants or anything there. So because I even asked that, trust me.
Was it in the vacuum cleaner?
4 days, like I think it was like 4 or 5 days later, the person messages me and says, I found my ring. It was in the vault safe in the basement, directly under the spot where I had said it was. So I was like, sense. Oh, well, and they hadn't told me that they had a basement. Well, I started thinking about it. I was like, why did she keep saying in the dirt? And then I realized, well, my guide was from like the 1830s. And so they didn't have what we know as basements.
They had crawl spaces.
Right. They had cellars, root cellars, things like that. But to her, that's in the dirt.
That makes sense.
So I was like, oh, okay. Well, now if I talk to somebody and they mention the basement, my guide now says dirt. So learn something new every day.
Basement and the dirt.
It's in the dirt.
It's in the dirt.
So many times I've had to find things like my guide was saying it's in the dirt. Now I'm wondering how many times they had a basement and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I have a gremlin in the basement. If he's still watching, it's Jacob. It's 100% Jacob.
That's awesome.
He is that gremlin.
So, with your classes, how many classes are you doing right now?
Right now, at this moment, we just finished and graduated 7 new tarot practitioners, actually, last Wednesday. And they are amazing readers, by the way. So they're going to be coming out into the world and doing their thing. And then right now I'm teaching multiple people with self-awareness and psychic development. And I do that as an individual class, very private. We do it once a week for 18 weeks. And so it takes a long time to get through that because there's like 17 lessons and then the final. And so basically that takes you through the beginning steps of like getting to know yourself on that deeper level so that you can kind of harness and embrace some of that personal psychic energy that you carry, and get in touch with that and how to enhance it and use it for things like divination, law of attraction, meditation, those types of things. And then I saw that Jacob just said he was still there.
Yeah, Das Gremlin has spoken.
Das Gremlin.
And then I'm getting ready to teach a class for a Reiki Master Teacher course starting October 5th, and that'll be for 6 weeks long. And then on top of that,
David helping you with that?
Meetings. I'm sorry?
Is Dave helping you with that?
Yes, he does assist with that because he actually demonstrates. I tell him what to do, and then he demonstrates it.
I'm still waiting on my massage. Okay.
Well, he's amazing with chakra balancing. I mean, I got to be real with you. His guided meditations, I've had multiple people say that when they had their session with Tranquil Spirit Energy, and that's Dave, that they have visions or their loved ones will come through and visit them through the meditation. And I think that's pretty amazing because that's a true gift. He's a really amazing healer. I mean, I'm a firm believer that what we do as healers is we, share that energy or exchange that energy in a way that allows the body to naturally heal itself. So we're not really providing healing or cures or anything like that. It's just kind of like our way of exchanging energy with you. And everybody's made up of energy. I mean, it's obvious that's a science thing, right? Everything is energy. And so I believe if we kind of move or push that energy, we can direct it where it needs to go to help the body realign itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
So
what do you think?
That's how Reiki works. And then because we have these energy centers in our body where there's like multiple areas in the body that come together, or multiple things in the body that come together, right? That would be the chakras, and that's what he works on directly with the crystals and stones, because the energy of the stones help align that as well. So
yeah, so after the show, we're gonna have you like send me the links to like any sort of like media outlook that you have, so I can go ahead and post them on our page, so people who want to know more about this can definitely get a hold of you for the right reasons, the right avenues, because they're gonna go to me and I'm gonna be like,
there's a massage thing with some energy chakra moving. Where
he throws crystals at you. Hopefully they're not like pointy. It's fine.
Well, he doesn't actually do physical massage because there's no hands-on. You don't have to touch with Reiki. Reiki is something you can send distantly. And then the only thing he does do that's hands-on is he lays the crystals on your chakra areas. And if it's a personal area, he usually kind of let you handle your own stones, so to speak.
I need to make him a shirt that says that. I'm going to let you handle your
I'm going to let you handle your own stones.
Hey, Dina, thanks for joining us tonight. That's amazing. I mean, I could definitely tell you that, like, after those weekends that you guys would be like passing through, heading to Dodge for your readings, or just in Wichita doing readings here, I always felt lighter after you guys had come through, because you all have such just an amazing energy as people, not only as healers, just as people in general.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Weekend.
I like being able to connect with people in person. Sometimes it can be a little draining or overwhelming if it's people who have a lot of trauma or things like that. But for the most part, it's very uplifting for me. And so I always feel really good about that. Next time we go to Dodge, we're actually going to be in Dodge City October 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I'm going to be doing readings. My husband's going to be doing, Dave is going to be doing chakra balancing sessions with guided meditation and Reiki. And then my daughter is going to be selling some of her paintings and artwork, which is very spiritual in nature. So it'll be awesome. Oh, yeah, she's peeking over my shoulder. That's Angel.
Angel, do you have any paintings or anything that, like, maybe just one that you can show our viewers, so if they're in Dodge City around that weekend, they can like be like, oh yeah, I remember this?
You want to go grab that one? Some. Grab that one that's on the shelf in there, the one I like. I snatched one of her first ones just because it was my favorite, and it's pretty amazing. But we're going to be, most of everything that we do, we post on Facebook, on our pages on Facebook. So they can look up like Peaceful Whispers LLC, and they'll find pretty much every event that I'm doing. I also, for Dave's page, it's Tranquil Spirit Energy, and they can find pretty much everything that he's doing on there. It also shows like our credentials, and he doesn't have a website yet. We're working on that. We're still trying to build his stuff up because he's only been doing this publicly for about a year, maybe a little over. And then with mine, my website is www.peacefulwhispers.com. And so that's pretty easy to find. Well, we want to show them this. I want to show them this. So I got to figure out how to get it up there where you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So that's one of them. And this one's my favorite one. That one's my favorite because I love the colors. And when you look at it, there's like different scenes in it. Now, the interesting thing about Angel is she paints with her hands. So can you see that one?
Wow, that's cool.
So that one's a lot bigger. But she completely paints with her hands. And then we have this one. I like this one.
Is that one for sale?
Actually, I bought this one too.
Oh man, because I was gonna be like, I'll give you money right now.
He would pay for that one.
But she does have one that's similar to that one. She said, "Do you have it on you?" Well, we can maybe have her grab that one so you can see it. Here, show me this one while I go look at that one. And then she does other ones that have like patterns. Oh, I guess I have it upside down. My bad. Can you see it?
Oh, I guess.
But there's
that's pretty cool.
when I looked at this one, the first thing I saw with this last one, like to me, it looked like there was like an owl looking through a window. And so it spoke to me like in a spiritual way. But it was weird because I thought that the red was on top, but the reality is the red was on first and she painted the other colors on top. Okay. And so it's kind of like an optical illusion. It's very cool. I don't know how she does it. I'm just not talented like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can draw. I have a lot of design experience, especially from going to school for design. So digital media, like I pretty much got that down for the most part. But painting, I'm just nope.
It's crazy to watch her do it. Like she literally puts the paint on her hands and just paints the boards with her hands, like with a glove in her hand. And she'll get paint everywhere. Bless her heart. But it is a beautiful thing. It usually turns out amazing. She also does, right now she's doing on her phone, she has some sort of app and she's designing her own spiritual guidance cards, which are kind of like a combination of tarot and oracle. And she's doing anime designs for that.
That's pretty cool.
So she has
mass produced.
This one.
Wow.
And then this one, I really love this one, so you'll probably like it.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah, so it's like, it kind of reminds me of like the Aurora Borealis or whatever.
Yep.
And then she has the tree, like she does trees. So.
And she did all that with her hands.
Yes, she paints with her hands.
Good job, Angel.
One that looks like the Aurora Borealis. It reminds me, if you've watched the newest Spider-Man, whenever the reality is splitting open, and it's the rift between dimensions, it reminds me of that. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
right on.
Right. I can see that.
So right now we're doing, we're hoping to make it like, we called it a mini metaphysical event at Dodge City, but what I'm really hoping is like, I want my clients who come to me regularly and sign up to me regularly to have opportunities to be able to like purchase products and things like that in an environment that's not real crowded or, you know, having a lot of people. So kind of like a VIP type shopping experience. So that's where she's going to be doing her art. And then we're going to be selling also, I have a few copies of the book. I got to pull it out here. I read for people, and this guy that I read for a while back wrote a book, and he decided to include me in the book because he said that my reading inspired his book. And so he included multiple readings, actually. And the book is called The Birthmark Scar. Looks like that. And there's a link to that on my website, on my Facebook page too. But I'll have a few copies of it to sell. In the book, he describes me as this woman, older woman in her late 50s, which is really funny because I'm just now 50 years old, but I love him. Anyway, and he talks about my blue bandana because I don't usually go anywhere without my blue bandana, which I'm even wearing today.
Yep.
So it kind of became this like big thing. Like now I'm like focusing on blue bandanas. So I'll be probably selling some blue bandanas. They're just plain blue bandanas. And then I'll also have t-shirts, Peaceful Whispers t-shirts that day. So, which on the back of them, they say, I need my Lena time. And have a big.
That's 100% a statement. That is 100% a statement.
So these are like, oh, whoops. I don't know if you can see that. So that is one of Angel's cards that she's doing. You guys see it?
Oh, yeah.
So she's kind of designing all the cards based on her intuition and that type of thing. So our hope is that at some point when she gets those done, we can get them printed up and I can actually give them a try and see how they work for me.
So one of the amazing things, okay, well, two things. For one, I found this at Walmart and I love it, just to let everyone know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. I love it. So that's my new skeleton of the year. But one of the amazing things that Lena does is she doesn't have to have tarot cards to read tarot cards.
No.
So I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna blow your mind.
Uh-oh.
He's going off the deep end here.
I am. I really am. So we were on Darkness Tavern, and Lena had brought a whole bunch of playing cards to try to teach us a couple skills, which we definitely enjoyed. But I made a joke that Lena had to sign a card for me so I would keep it forever.
I totally did sign that card. So
and it's hanging in my amazing office.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, so I told you I was going to keep it forever.
I can read with dice, dominoes, toothpicks, playing cards, pretty much anything. It's really not. All of those are just kind of the tools, but basically, it's the intuition. We read with intuition, and that's one of the things I'm trying to teach the tarot classes that I'm teaching. Is to trust their intuition, not just the basic meaning of the cards, because I feel like we sometimes limit ourselves with basic meanings. You know what I mean?
Right.
So some of the things that I want to do ultimately is like, I want to compare different decks to each other as well, because I feel like in one deck, a card might mean one thing, but in another deck, it may mean something totally different simply by the intuition and how it comes up. And the pictures on the cards definitely can tell us a story. Now with playing cards, you basically can read the same as tarot, but there's certain things missing. Like you don't have, in a playing card deck, you don't have the major arcana, you don't have the knights, you still have the court cards, and you still have all the minor arcana, which covers all the basics, but you know, it's not quite the same as tarot. It's a little bit more limited. And then I have
intuition based.
I have a gypsy tarot deck that actually has major arcana and playing cards kind of mixed together. So that's kind of
cool.
Yeah.
So and then, Jeff, have you ever had your tarot cards read before?
No, I haven't.
You want to?
At some point. I'd be interested. It's happening?
It's happening. Okay. How about 3 cards? We'll do 3 cards.
Okay.
All right. So what I have to do is have you talk to me just for a minute so I can hear your voice. Basically, I just want you to tell me what you did this morning. Like I got up, I brushed my teeth, I had breakfast, that kind of general stuff.
All right.
While we shuffle.
Let's see. I knew that we had to get to Walmart today, so had read out my list the night before, and then went out to Walmart, picked up a rake and some of my gardening stuff. My backyard and my front yard need a lot of yard work, and then after that, we went to this like thrift store because on the way out, I wanted to go to it, and we were like, yeah, let's go check it out. And then after that, I got myself a couple of Red Skeleton movies from there. And then went to a Mexican market that was just like a couple of buildings down and picked up some odds and ends from there. Got us some pan dulce and some, I can't think of what fruit it is. It has these little spikes on it. Gray introduced us to them. And it tastes like a grape on the outside, but it has this like big old seed in the middle of it. And then came back here and started getting ready for the show. Talked with Max for a little bit, and then swept up a little bit of my area and started doing a little bit of yard work.
So I have one more question for you, and this is just out of curiosity, just because I don't ever try to read people's birthdays. I'm going to ask, when's your birthday?
December 21st of 1985.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to point out, I laid the cards out, just 3 of them in a row. This is just kind of like a story pattern. When we read the tarot, we read it kind of like a book or a story. And with the major arcana, that's like the chapters. The minor arcana is like the details of the chapter. And then the court cards would represent the characters, so to speak. So In this one, you don't have any court cards come up, but you did have 2 major arcana cards. So these kind of describe the person that you are. And this is part of the reason I ask, because I kind of wanted to know if your sign, your actual zodiac sign, kind of matched some of those details, which it does, because you are an earth sign, and it shows a lot of earthy type energy here. We have the Lovers card, which is absolutely amazing. We also have the Empress card, which is Mother Nature. And because you are, Capricorn energy, you're carrying a lot of that earth energy that kind of makes you real easy, down to earth, fun to be around. Probably why you get along with Max so well. There are certain things that you can be kind of selfish about, and you have a hard time letting go of things that bother you. So this card here represents a need to kind of release some of the things of the past. It shows you carry a lot of burdens that maybe aren't your own or that aren't necessary. But it also is a reminder not to leave things behind unfinished. So sometimes this would represent that you maybe don't finish everything. You'll start many projects or multiple projects, and you don't complete them all. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Now, the Lovers card being in the center here, it does show that you are a person who loves unconditionally. You usually, when you give your heart, you're very loyal and committed to that. And so it's very hard for you to open up and give to people that way, because you don't always feel like that's being returned. And the reason we're seeing that with this card is because it's upside down in the cards today. It's reversed. So it shows that sometimes it's a struggle for you to find that intimacy and connection with someone, because you have a hard time opening up about who you are. So if someone is lucky enough to have you, it is a beautiful thing. It can also represent that you're going to get some really good sex, but I didn't need to know that.
So. I'm sure there's plenty of people who are like, I didn't need to know that.
I just really didn't.
Every one of your fellow employees that are watching this right now all went, ooh, we didn't need to know that.
And then the Empress card, she's like Mother Nature. She gives beautiful energy to nurturing and natural healing. These coming up together shows me that you do have some very strong empathic skills, and you are very a natural giver and healer. So when you're around people, you do things maybe to make them laugh or bring, sense of humor into things, because that helps with healing. You also probably have a very warm touch. According to the cards that are here, it also indicates that you are a person who really enjoys nature type things, or being connected with earth energies, things like having barbecues, bonfires, being out in nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, the empathic energy means you probably feel what other people are putting off, which means a lot of times when you're around people who are really negative, you probably feel very angry very quickly, or very frustrated, maybe some heightened anxiety, especially in a large crowd. So crowds might not be your thing. And the final card, I do have a fourth card. This is kind of like your special message. And this card is actually on the bottom of the deck. You can see I just turned it over. That card represents strong Scorpio type energy and clairvoyant energy. We often see this card come up with people who have very strong premonitions or deja vu. They feel things sometimes before it happens. And so they might feel like, oh my gosh, I've done this before, or, oh wow, I shouldn't have known that, or how cool is it that this happened, right? And then the other thing is it shows that you're putting off very strong sexual energy right now. And so you may be attracting people who are kind of creepy. So heads up. Are you married?
No. I have a girlfriend.
Oh, bless your heart.
For like 8 months now.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Probably watching in our bedroom.
So she's probably in there going, oh my gosh, I might get
no, here's the thing. She's probably across the hall laughing at the whole, yeah, we didn't need to know that, being like, I'm going to get asked like 7 times tomorrow.
Well, your beautiful number 7 here, that's actually a nice heavenly number. or at least that's what I call it, it does indicate that, you're on the verge of some good things happening, but you do need to put closure on some things of your past. And you know what they are according to the cards. So it says those things that you need to let go of, you no longer need to carry. It's time to let them go. And you're ready to move on to much better things. With the other cards, it does indicate that something really good is about to happen to you. It does say that it could be something emotional or some sort of emotional uplift that you'll get sometime within the next 3 to 6 weeks. So it could be good news based on the fact that it shows movement forward. This could be movement in a career. So it could be like something moving up in the career or a change with some sort of activity or project that you might be doing.
I'm not giving you a promotion.
No, I know that's not happening.
Hopefully that doesn't mean he's leaving your employee.
No.
Hey, yeah, you're not allowed to leave either. So.
Leaving your employee, that's the word I was looking for. So I hope this is helpful. It was kind of a quick overview of what I do. I can't guarantee accuracy because I can't be 100% because I'm human, but I can say based on what it's showing, you have some strong things coming up for you. Beautiful connections between you and your partner. I would advise extra precautions in the fertility area, as 2 of those cards do represent high fertility, and one of them can indicate the possibility of a baby coming into the home or into the near future. So this could be about adoption, bringing in children, or even getting a pet for the home.
We are supposed to be bringing her dog into the home, so we're doing preparations for that.
So that could be all it is. Yeah. But just in case.
Just in case, be on the cautious side.
Right?
Yeah.
Max is like, okay, now what?
No, that was interesting. I liked that. That was something I hadn't experienced before.
Was it? And because I'm just a junkie for other people's experiences, honestly.
Right.
Prior to having your tarot cards read,
mm-hmm.
compared to you just had them read, did you think that's how it was going to go? How did you feel like compared from before to after?
I know that like in most situations like that, and it's more like how it's portrayed than the actuality of it. And I knew this going in, and I was like, because it's one of those you're not going to get specific. We are like Lena said, we are human. We fall. You can't get an exact head on the nail. But it was kind of some of those things were kind of like, all right, I can see what that means. I can agree with that. Lena doesn't know me all that well, so she doesn't get what kind of energies I put off and stuff like that. And I would say a lot of that she was reading from the tarot describes a lot of who I am as a person. Just on a quick read.
I can verify that because literally I have a side conversation going on with Stephanie right now.
Okay.
And she was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And I was like, right?
Now, and maybe it's you and I've discussed this as far as the zodiac because Lena did mention it. And me being technically a cusp where I sit between the Capricorn and the Sagittarius. Where she was mentioning that, and I was like, okay. I've always leaned more towards the Sagittarius side of it than over on the Capricorn side of it, just from my own personal experiences when it comes to at least reading my signs and stuff like that.
Right, I can see that though because you are very passionate and fiery about what you do, but at the same time, I think that sometimes makes us a little bit like having that cusp energy. When we teeter back and forth, it does sometimes make us a little volatile to some of the more difficult challenges of each sign.
Right.
And one of them with the Sagittarius is that, remember I was saying there's some things that you could be a little selfish about. Mm-hmm. Sagittarius tends to be a sign that sometimes can be very entitled about things. They just think everybody should have enough for everybody. It's just kind of the thing, and right. So why does everybody have to be so greedy? Why can't I have it? You know what I mean?
Right. You have enough of those. I deserve a couple of those. You don't need any more. Yeah.
Is it pork rinds? Is that what we're talking about right now? Pork rinds?
Absolutely. Pork rinds are the best.
Speaking of the Mexican store that I went to today, I went and we were looking for Sabritones to see if they had like their own like Mexican brand, the Sabritones. And I thought I had found it, but no, it was this like large slice chicharrones.
Mm.
But the first thing I did look for whenever I went back to there was for their carniceria, which did have a big old thing of cracklings. And I was like, I'm going to have to get you next time.
I'm just hillbilly enough that I like my cracklings in my cornbread.
That is how I grew up with them. That's the only way my grandpa did them.
It's the best.
No, it's weird, but babe.
And obviously, I like food, so
And
just saying.
we get all three, food junkies.
Oh, the better the flavor, you know. But there are things like with the tarot, like if we were to sit down in a private setting, I probably would have went into a little more detail, but doing it publicly, there's some things that, you know, some people just don't want us to say.
Right. But that's the thing is you don't know me on a personal enough level to say, hey, he would be okay with me saying something in more detail about a certain thing that I'm getting from that reading.
Right. And I'm usually very cautious about, you know, when I read people, you know, where I'm reading and trying to keep their confidentiality and that type of thing. I won't read for anyone without their permission. Or at least I try not to. There are times that I accidentally read people. But I usually try to keep that to myself. Because, you know, some of them can be a little, wow, I didn't need to know that either. I actually recently had a dream about one of my clients that I've read for off and on for a long time. And it was a very visual dream where they came to talk to me about something specific. And when I went to, I finally just decided to call them or message them and say, hey, you know, I had this weird dream and I'm hoping this isn't really happening to you. But just in case if it is, please reach out to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. And they sent me back a message that says my doctor just reached out to me 10 minutes ago and basically verified what I was saying. So I was like, okay, well, I was a little late, but I mulled it over for 5 hours. Do I tell this person I'm dreaming about them? Because they're like a random, you know, you just can't tell people, hey, I'm dreaming about you. You know, they might be a little weirded out.
Somebody taking it in the wrong way, like,
right?
Yeah, please don't tell me that you're dreaming about me. Keep that to yourself.
Right. And I have people like often that they'll pop into my dreams and I'll see them over and over. And then I'm like, oh, I'm either knowing that I'm going to hear from them or that it's somebody I need to read for. And I've had people where my guide will sit there and just say over and over, you need to read that person. You need to read that person. And so I will finally have to tell them like, okay, well, I'm getting that I need to read for you. I'll do it for free. Here it is, you know, because when it comes to that, it's like them not reaching out to me, but it's something that they need to know. And sometimes they don't want to pay for it or can't afford to pay for it. So my God will be like, you need to do it regardless. And I do have to do it, or she will drive me crazy until I do. She will talk to me for hours in my head. So, and I feel like sometimes I am like feeling like two different people because I don't always feel like just me. You know what I mean?
I can understand that. I mean, usually that's just like my alter ego arguing with me, but close enough.
Right?
Close enough.
Well, maybe your alter ego is actually a guy.
Maybe, could be. But usually it's like the angel devil thing happening.
Yep.
Like, hey, you shouldn't do that. And the other one's like, yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that, but do it anyway.
You should not, but I want to see it.
Yes, that's how that goes.
Yeah, I've had a few of those in my time.
Yep. That's like my constant state of life right now, to be honest with you.
I do believe most people have multiple guides that come through for different purposes. Like sometimes they'll have a guide that comes through just for healing, or maybe one that helps them with their finances or with their art. You know, for me though, she's pretty constant. I do have others that come through for other things, but she's always there. Like for some reason, she's always been there. So,
have you had anything come through that you need to say on the show for like one of us, or for like maybe someone who's watching, or maybe somebody who is going to watch?
Actually, I was doing a really good job blocking and trying not to read. Because of the simple fact that when we're doing the public, sometimes it does kind of open it up to some crazy things. And I wouldn't want to put you guys in jeopardy either. We did recently have some weird experiences where, like, my daughter came to me and said, Mom, I remember that little girl I used to see, and she was telling me about this little girl, and we discovered that other people have seen a similar girl, and I actually saw a similar girl as a child. And so we're now wondering, like, are they traveling through the family or how is that working, right? So, it's multiple people. So, and I don't know if sometimes we kind of, I don't know, if we pick up on things from certain people, sometimes it's maybe not necessarily something we should talk about publicly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
not everyone wants their like dirty laundry aired out. I get it.
Right. Because I do know somebody who's watching this, I can say one of the people who's watching this is really struggling with some emotional ups and downs, but I can't see who all's watching it from my angle here. All I can see is the three of you and a thing that says you're in the show.
You're in the show.
I'm in the show. I'm in the Max show. That's all. I couldn't remember the name. I was like, it's a Max show. That's what I wrote in my calendar.
It's in the mess with Max and Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. When I and I remember Jeff, like, so I was like, I just put Max show because it was tiny, right? So I'm like, it's Max and Jeff, but I don't remember what they called it. And then later, my guide was like, it's all that mess. And I'm like, what's all that mess? And then she was explaining. So
yeah,
I was like,
I have a great time coming up with episode titles. Mm-hmm. So today's is Lena in the mess, and the description literally says, "Do you think she saw this mess coming? Tune in and find out." Or if there are even messier messes in store for this duo.
I'll be honest with you. I do think that your show needs a little more advertising. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think some of the games and things like that you guys do, I do believe that needs to be put out there a little more. People need to be able to laugh. Life is way too full of trauma and drama over the last few years. And so laughter is really good for the soul. And I think that would be something amazing that you guys could offer,
Yeah, we've been working on some advertisements and trying to get the word out there even more. Just trying to find the ways to go about it and to push forward. I mean, Jeff gets on the page and posts things. I get on the page and post things. It's just trying to find that medium between what we have to do all week and the show once a week.
Right.
That it kind of gets pushed to the back, even though I don't want it to.
Well, I can tell you that Facebook has this really cool new thing now where you can post posts and put them to post at different times. Like, you don't have to share it right now.
Like a scheduled post.
Yeah, you can schedule it. And so that's pretty cool.
I've seen that there's been a couple of times since whenever I will post something more like from the all the mess page, where whenever I go to post, it says, do you want to post this now or at a scheduled date? So I'm like, okay, that might be something to look for. Like how you're talking about, for me, it's more not necessarily finding the striking balance between, time, which is always a factor. It's more of telling it too many times to where it gets people burned out from it. And it's being too in the face and not enough in the face. It's trying to strike that medium balance.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd rather just yell at everyone every day. Watch all the mess. Watch all the mess. Watch all the mess. I don't care if you're bored of me. Watch all the mess.
So I have to tell you, I don't know which one of it belongs to. Trying to get my guide to tell me which one of you, but both of you, just in case. My guide is indicating that there's some car repairs being needed and you need to get that done. So, She says that you should know probably already. So
How's your car holding up, Jeff?
I mean, I need an oil change, but that's it that I've seen.
I need an oil change and I have to get my tire fixed.
It's probably the tire.
Is your tire still acting up?
Oh, no,
I have patched.
No, it's actually my tire's actually sitting at work right now, in the shed.
So it's probably the tire issue. Just so you know.
Yeah, I gotta get my tire fixed. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Well, sometimes they show me things, sometimes they don't. I wasn't trying to read that, but she was kind of driving me a little bit crazy. She's laughing now. She's laughing. She thinks that's funny. Stephanie said
it's probably my car. Stephanie, it's always your car.
Ask Stephanie if she'd like me to pull a card for her. Or she can she can hear me, right? So Stephanie, you want me to pull one card for you?
I bet she would, though. I'm gonna hold on. Yes,
I won't do it until she says yes, but she has to say yes.
That's a confirmation.
She said yes, please. I got that. So I'm just gonna pull one here just to see what we get for Stephanie. And I pulled the World card, which looks like that. Can you see it all right?
Oh, yeah. So that's pretty.
The World is about new changes coming. She's ending a cycle in her life. There's new things that she's about to do or embark on, and it does show her being able to connect with her guides and actually get some spiritual information coming forward. We see multiple animal totems on that card, so it does indicate that she might want to just do a little meditation, those types of things, and kind of see what's coming through and pay attention to any animals that she might see. Like if she would happen to be driving and see, a bunch of deer or something like that, and she can look up the different meanings of the animals. So Stephanie, this can indicate good things coming, but you have to put some things to closure too, because when we're in that circle with the World's card, it means that you're ending a cycle. That means people moving out or changes happening. Could be you moving or changing something in your home. Usually it's about how we're needing to release something that we've been hanging on to too long in the home. So, making sense? You guys are like all quiet.
Oh, when you speak, I dial in. I want to know. I want to know.
Well, and it kind of depends on, like, with the World card, it's a major arcana card too. So it's one of those steps that we take, and it shows she's maybe been doing a lot of soul work. And with that soul work comes a new beginning, with that ending of that soul work or that phase of soul work. This tells me also that she's probably right around that, sorry to tell ages, but she's probably between 30 and 40, maybe 35, 45, because it's usually right about that time when we're doing that awakening to the life energy. We're more mature, we're wise, that type of thing. And I'm given a very wide range because she's female, and sometimes females don't like their age being told. But I can tell you, Stephanie, she looks like she's like 20 for real. So I don't know why we would worry. But she's got this beautiful old soul. So 40, yay. To be honest, a lot of us, we around the age of 42, we're like, oh, that's why it's the secret of life. You know what I mean? So
I'm still like 34, so I guess I have another 6 years to learn it.
Well, I'm kind of like over the hill. I done breached over that hill. I turned 50 last year. I'll be 51 on the 23rd of this month. So
we'll have early birthday
already, aren't we?
Well, thank you. I'm doing the old thing, but I'm okay with that.
I'm doing the old thing.
The fun thing about being old is you can say what you think and you can just blame it on being old.
Oh, I have to be old to do that? Damn it.
Raccoons are about mystery. And they usually mean that there's going to be some secrets revealed. They're very, very kind of, my daughter said evil, but they're not really evil. They're
Trash pandas are magical.
They are very, very, very spiritual animals who open the mysteries of our soul. They actually remind us to pay attention to who we are and let our true self be seen. So there's other meanings she can look up online. I would look for, there's a book called Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. Absolutely beautiful book, full of all different kinds of animals and strong spiritual meanings with them. It's one of my favorites. I've read multiple ones, but that one's one of my favorites. So, and then we have also at the KC Metaphysical Fair, which is going to be happening again in November in North Kansas City. And we'll actually be in St. Louis with the KC Metaphysical Fair on Halloween, the weekend before Halloween. But
oh man,
we have a reader out there. Her name's Sylvia, and Sylvia is absolutely amazing. She is an amazing animal spirit reader. So she reads like, I don't know, like an animal tarot spiritual thing. It's very amazing.
I wish it wasn't the weekend before Halloween though, because I would 100% take a trip to St. Louis. Me and Jamie. I actually just found a restaurant that I really want to go to, called Terror Tacos
in St. Louis.
Yes.
So this is actually going to be, I think the fair is actually going to be in a little town called Collinsville in Illinois. So it's just outside of St. Louis, like on the outskirts. But we're supposed to be there whatever the last weekend is. Let me look. Hold on.
28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah. We'll be there the 29th and 30th doing readings. I'll do readings. Dave will be doing chakra balancing. And they'll have lots of vendors and readers. I just can't even tell you that it changes every time. There's so many different ones. So, and then in November, we do it at Harrah's, North Kansas City. The KC Metaphysical Fair there has oodles and oodles of vendors. And it's pretty awesome because it's right next to the casino. So you can always like come to the fair and then go to the casino. And yeah, it's kind of cool.
You know what weekend that is?
That one would be, I think, let me look. It is November 18th, 19th, and 20th.
I might have to make that one happen because Jamie's over here like, oh my God, I need that. I need that to happen like right now.
Yeah, the KC Metaphysical Fair is my favorite. There's lots of different fairs in the area, but that one's one of the best. And they do vet all their readers. Like nobody can read there if they haven't read for the coordinators, and they can't really. To my knowledge, they don't allow just anybody into the fair. So you get good quality stuff. Like they don't want people being scammed and that kind of thing. So they're very cautious about that. And they do really put on a beautiful fair with good community, lots of support, lots of happiness. I mean, you get your occasional, crazy person coming through like me, but other than that, it's an amazing show. I'm the only crazy one, really.
I don't know if Jeremiah's reading. His readings are shocking to me, to say the least.
No,
Jeremiah has.
He's very gifted. Very gifted.
Yeah, but things come out that you hadn't thought about in 20 years, and you're just like,
right.
How in the hell?
His is more of a soul work type reading, or at least that's how I feel. Mine tells more about like what's happening on your day to day, where his gets in that deep soul work space, and sometimes that's a little much for people, but it's amazing, and it's very cleansing and healing to people. I think Jeremiah actually reads with roots that he has, like he made them himself on antlers. Like pieces of antler. I don't know. It's very cool. And they're like antler tips or whatever. But when we were in Dodge City, everybody was thinking that he was reading bones, which I thought was awesome.
That's how the inside joke finger bone got started.
Well, and there is a reader who reads bones at the fair sometimes.
Yes, him.
I think is his name. I always called him the bone guy. But He kind of looks the part too. Like a lot of people were like all freaked out by him, but he's pretty amazing, and he's really a nice guy. Absolutely love the energy of people I've met there. So
walk out with a new piercing or something.
Jamie would like to know if you would pull a card for her.
absolutely.
Come
Tell
here,
her to
babe.
just talk for a minute.
You have to
That
come
way
by
I can
the
hear her
microphone.
voice.
Yeah, you can even have my seat for this.
Oh, you're gonna give me your seat.
Yeah, because you have to talk to Lena.
How are you, Miss Lena?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. How have you been?
I've been busy.
That's a good thing, though, right?
It is. I
Good
enjoy
for
it.
you.
So I'm just gonna
That's good.
pull out a card here for you. Maybe a couple. Sound good?
Of course.
Was there something specific you were hoping to focus on today?
Well, I know we had talked about my work last time, and I was wondering if the doctor was going to be retiring. And I had given myself a timeline of 5 years. You said, no, it'll be sooner than that. So just want to see how the work vibe is happening, how that's changing, because I'm seeing some changes, but I want to know how deep it goes.
So we are still seeing that the changes are happening. You actually have this beautiful wish card. I call him like the Cheshire Cat card because he's grinning like he's got everything he wanted.
Okay.
But when he shows up, that usually means it's something that's really emotional to us or really important. This is indicating that you're going to be getting some of those things. Patience is not your strong suit, according to the cards here. This card here shows that there's still some little obstacles that could get in the way. And if you'll notice, off in the distance in this card, you see like this shoreline. And that's how I like to describe this card, is that they can't quite see through the swords to see clearly what that entails or what it's going to be like.
Okay.
But, you know, they could remove the swords and they'd be able to see perfectly fine, but then their boat would sink.
Right.
So they have to be patient. They have to deal with those little obstacles till they get there. And if they can do that, then they can use those tools that they have to protect themselves, to tend to themselves, that type of thing. So this is a reminder that you have to be a little more patient. It does show with this card here that you're a survivor and a fighter. And no matter what, you're putting forth the energy and experience that's needed for this situation. And according to the cards, trusting your instincts and your intuition is going to help you see the future very clearly. And it does show that coming within 2 years.
Okay.
So your 5-year thing is definitely sooner, according to these cards here. 2 years, 9 months at the most.
Okay.
It also shows with these cards, you do struggle a little bit in the communications area right now, or will for the next probably 6 to 9 days. It is showing that people may not answer the phones when you want them to, or equipment might not be working properly. So where communications are concerned, kind of a heads up there. And then it also shows with transportation some sort of challenge or difficulty, which kind of maybe tells us that maybe that's what it was referring to as his tire needing to be repaired, because it is showing as part of your family or household. So shows a need to repair something in the transportation area.
Okay.
Also, it does show a family travel coming up for you around about 9 weeks from now. And it doesn't tell me what it's for, but it shows it's going to be a really fun time.
Is that November?
I gotta count.
Is that November?
1, 2, 3,
I would have to.
It would put you about middle of November.
Right on. Very cool. Yeah, I wouldn't know numbers. Like, I just tell you the number of weeks.
That'll put us right in the middle of November.
Yep.
Very cool.
Well, we just said we wanted to go to Casey.
Looks like we're going to KC.
Oh, rock on. Now we know. And that, it does say to trust your intuition a little bit more there. We've talked about that before, how you have that strong gift, but you're not trusting it as much.
I know.
So,
I'm out of practice, and I do doubt myself a whole bunch.
Yeah, we're going to work on that, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
We definitely want to see that work a little better for you.
Yes, ma'am. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope it was helpful.
Yes and no, because what are we going to break?
I'm about to ask that question, actually. So, Lena, I know we're like 20 minutes over our deadline. I hope you're okay with that, Jeff.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. This is great. This is usually how it goes. In fact, babe, can you get me another drink? I don't know if you know this, but recently I decided to go from 4 wheels to 2.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I love my bike, Tyra. She is awesome. I love her so much.
That's amazing. How's that going for you?
It was a struggle bus at first.
Right.
Trying to push past my PTSD from all the car accidents I've had.
Right.
And actually appreciate and trust my bike. I have met some really, really good, supportive, cool people that have not only like gotten me out of my comfort zone, but not in a bad way, but have helped me learn and embrace and push forward and not doubt myself so much. So they've really helped me. Hopefully at least 1 or 2 of them are listening. So they can really know how I feel about them. So that's great. However, I'm really hoping that maybe your spirit guide or your cards can maybe narrow down which vehicle is going to be breaking.
She does say it will not be a 2-wheeled vehicle. It is
Thank
not.
God.
We need to get your tire fixed.
Thank God.
Oh, your
Yeah,
poor baby.
Listen, I don't need 2 wheels to break under me, okay?
Yeah, she says it's not. She says it's not the motorcycle. So.
Good. Yeah, I named her after the Norse goddess of, goddess warrior of thunder.
Nice, very nice.
Thunder warrior. Yeah. So, any other questions, Jeff? You got anything? You wanna say anything? Want to ask anything? Want to learn stuff? I don't know.
I'm good.
You good, Snorlax?
Pretty good. Yeah. I'm a good Snorlax.
You are a good Snorlax.
Jeff, do you notice any strange noises and things like that in your house?
I've only been in this house now for a month and have not really noticed any kind of noises.
Keep me posted.
Okay.
Here, Lena. Here. And I can give you a prime example, and my wife can attest to this. Maybe even Jeff can. I know if Jacob's still watching, he can. So I use vape, like everyone sees. I vape. And I lost about a half bottle of juice about probably 5 days ago.
Right.
5 days ago. I've looked in my office, my bathroom, my bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, her car, my truck, the garage. I've looked everywhere. Where did you look, babe?
Everywhere you did.
So she went behind me and made sure I didn't miss anything, which is normal. That's norm. I literally found my bottle of juice today sitting on my desk before I started the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it a Don't Care Bear?
No, it wasn't a Don't Care Bear, and it's not this one. It's my other one, which I don't know where I put now either.
But we already knew your house was haunted, though.
Like, well, see, we've been in this house for...
February will be 3 years.
February will be 3 years. So it comes in spurts.
Right.
Jacob swears that the basement is haunted because that's his domain down there. That's where his room is. It's a finished basement, not so you don't think I'm like endangering his life or something like that.
He's the dirt dweller.
Yes.
Oh, he lives in the dirt.
He lives in the dirt.
Okay, so I didn't know that she told me this. She has not told me this. And I myself never heard anything. So
well, your house is maybe just a little bit haunted, Jeff.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Welcome to the
Not
club.
with anything negative. I don't think it's negative. I do think that it sounds like people knocking. You might notice doors opening or closing. I think it's just a part of your family members, maybe that have passed, that are coming through. And I think they're trying to let you know they're there. I don't think it's anything negative at all. I don't feel that, but it's definitely pretty active.
Is that
and
Kiwi?
so,
yeah, Key's literally just stuck her head and goes, I knew it.
Tell her to come show her face and say hi to Lena.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take it off the headphones. Come in.
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hey, Kiwi.
Hi.
She should not be so free. Hi.
Hi.
It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Want to take a seat?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So at some point, you may want to do like a little clearing, just to make sure. But I don't feel like it's anything bad. I think it's family members who have passed, and it's one of yours, Jeff. So
Okay.
I think it's a good thing. It's kind of like your guardian angel, so to speak.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. I wanted to go.
Jamie in the kitchen just went, "Aw."
Well, Max,
Oh.
we know you attract them, so I don't know. Yours
ain't
could be
lying.
anybody from the neighborhood.
Yeah, it could be like someone's cat that passed away 3 years ago in another city, and it came to find me. Apparently,
Right. Well, and keep in mind your animals are good readers of that, and they're gonna sense when there's kind of some crazy stuff going on. And then, like right after we got on the show, they were like, "Oh, let me just tell you about all this crazy stuff I'm sensing." And right there, Jeff's screen really kind of shows. Well, every now and then you'll get this like blur that comes across there, or at least
I just thought his
I'm
camera
seeing
sucked.
Yeah, well,
I just love it says the new white light. Too much bleed out.
yeah. Well, I'll be honest. No, my guide says it's because of the activity. So, I mean, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I can't be 100%, but usually not too far off on those.
Yeah, we've been having crazy things happen for about the last week. Because it's spooky season, right? This
Right.
is when I start my spooky season, when everyone actually is more accepting of me starting the spooky season instead of like in January when I try to.
This is all year.
I live it every day. Bless your heart.
Right. So Jamie has been taking things out of my office and moving them around the house to decorate the rest of the house. Well, I think I was like in the bathroom or something, or maybe I was sitting on the bed on the phone, and Jamie was in the living room, and we heard this huge crash. Like it literally,
Glass shattering.
yeah, it sounded like glass shattering. And like I come running out of the room, she comes running out from the sunroom, and we both look at each other, and she was like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "I didn't do anything. What'd you do?"
I just had all my Halloween decorations out and I knew something valuable broke and I'm like, what happened? Where is it? Like I'm like making laps around the house and I can't find anything.
Right.
So I called
Stupid.
Jacob. Like again, he's in the basement. So
He's
I
in the
called
dirt.
Jacob, and I was like, "Did you just break something?" And he's like, "No, why?" And I was like, "You didn't hear that loud bang?" And he's like, "No." Still, after a week, I mean, we've opened closets, we've double checked, triple checked, quadruple checked everything. Like the garage, I even went out to make sure my bike was okay. I was like, "Did she fall over?"
Yeah.
Like, still can't find what it was.
Well, sometimes it's just the sound that we hear. So
I don't know why from the opposite end it would sound like glass shattering, but okay, that works. I don't know. He didn't hear it, but I did, but it was the boys in the utility room.
Another Halloween decoration lately.
Broke a Halloween decoration?
Yeah, I accidentally broke his zombie flamingo thing.
What?
While
Oh,
playing,
the zombie.
while playing, what were we playing? In that bathroom?
Can Jam?
We were playing Can Jam.
Yeah, we were playing Can Jam that time. Like that one time that I pushed Jacob over and it caught him by surprise.
Yeah.
I pushed him over and he kind of just looked back at me like, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "Oh."
well,
So-
it sounds like you guys have lots of activity to look into, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do, and hopefully Phantom's Keep actually has a lot of things coming up. Been in contact with a couple people, which I've talked to you about, trying to do that because I feel like kind of lost a part of myself over the last like 2 years because the last investigation we had was right before COVID.
Right.
So
It's been
COVID
a
has
while.
definitely put a hurt on that.
Well, and I think there's a lot of places that they're getting a lot of activity that are not being checked into, or and there's definitely I don't know, some big changes coming in this area. So
It is. I was actually really sad when they tore down the old baseball stadium in Wichita,
Oh, me
because I
too.
know that has been a place for investigations in the past and has been severely haunted. Now I'm kind of wondering if the new one kind of has a run over of sorts. Haven't heard
right.
anything yet. I'm hoping.
Well, most of the attachments stick with the land that they're on, so not necessarily the building.
That's like with Kathy Ramirez. You were talking about her earlier. She does ghost tours of Kansas, and she had one here in Wichita where she would stop at. It's a tattoo studio, or it was a tattoo studio, but back in the day, it was very different. It was not a tattoo studio. A lot of ladies were there. Yeah, it was a brothel, babe. I was trying not to say.
There's a few of those in that area.
Yep, I mean there's a lot of history, especially right in that Delano district. Most businesses have claimed happenings in their business. So this brothel burnt down. It was rebuilt, became a couple other different businesses. A guy took it over as a tattoo studio. It burnt down. He rebuilt, sold it off, or I think he actually ended up passing away, and it got sold off. Another guy bought it, turned it into a tattoo studio, and then the same weekend that I was filming for the Travel Channel, it burnt down again.
Seems to be a pattern, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't get enough insurance money on the first time.
It's gone through like 5 different owners.
Well, the
They're like,
interesting
you know what time
like,
it is? It's time to burn it down.
Yep.
We've seen a few places like that, like the Eldridge. It was burned multiple times too, and so
I think they lost 2 stories.
I'm sorry.
They lost 2 stories of their building at one point.
I think so, something like that. And to be honest, I don't really know a lot of the history there. I just know what I experienced there as an intuitive. So they don't tell me a lot of the history and stories. Occasionally I'll get some validation for what I pick up on, but most of the time I go in totally unknowing. I have a whole list of information that I received about, which this is crazy. So dragging it out a little bit longer, sorry.
You're fine. I'm having fun.
I kept having people come to me and say they were going to the Velisca house, and I didn't know what that was.
The axe murder house.
People were like, well, it was a random person. They were like, oh, I went to the Velisca house. Or this person would say, oh, I'm going to get to go to the Velisca house. Or this group of paranormal people were like, oh, we're going to investigate the Velisca house. So obviously I knew it was something paranormal. But I'm like, why does this keep coming up? Because I'm kind of I believe in synchronicities kind of person. And it kept happening and kept happening. And so I was like, what is it with this place? Like, what is this place about? And then boom, all of a sudden, there was this little dead girl standing in my living room, and she just started talking to me. And I took a piece of paper and just started writing things down that I was getting. And then the next thing I know, there's another little girl. And so all the things that I was getting, I was writing down, and I've still yet to research to see if any of it's accurate. Like, I'm afraid to research it before, because I've never been there. I've never been to the house. So all the information that I have is like intuitive. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I do know I at one point had this vision of the house itself. And so I drew like my own version of a map of it, and then sent it to a friend of mine and said, please just tell me if this house exists and it's real, which obviously people are going there, so it must be. I want to know if this kind of somewhat matches the way the house is laid out. So like a schematic of the house or something like that. I said, I just want to know if it's close or if I'm just totally nuts. Because I thought in my mind, if that was close, then I would probably be somewhat accurate about the rest of the stuff I was picking up. And so this person took the picture. I sent it to them over a camera, from my phone. And they came back later, probably 4 or 5 days later, and said, "Oh my gosh, Lena, it's the same, but not." And I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And they were like, "It's a mirrored image. Like if you held your picture up to a mirror, it would match the actual schematic, but my image was mirrored." And I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting. I'm seeing it in reverse." So
That's crazy.
I do have all that info. Like at some point we'll have to talk about that, Max, because
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I've done a lot of research about it because I was one of the places that I was looking into because I was working at David's Bridal and somebody told me about that house and I had no idea about it. And then last Halloween, I believe it was, or maybe the Halloween before, Lunchbox from the Bobby Bones show actually went and spent the night at that house.
interesting.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I have a similar story though about Atchison.
So not to interrupt.
Oh, about the Sally house?
Quick thought. You said that everything was reversed, right? It was based on a cell phone picture that you took. Don't cell phones reverse image when it sends?
Oh, I never thought about that. So maybe I'm not seeing it reversed. Maybe the
you're not
picture
seeing it reversed. It's whenever you took the picture of it, it reversed the image, and that's what they sent. That's what you sent them. So that's
a
what they're basing off of that schematic of what they have, of what they saw on yours, based off of that schematic, and said this is here, but it's on the left, and this is here, and it's on the right. But it's only because of how you took the picture of it.
Right. I didn't even think about that. It's a possibility. That's
Great
something
find,
to check
Jeff.
into now. That was awesome. Thank you.
Great find, man.
You're welcome.
Like I think I still have it. I just now I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I gotta look. So I'm gonna pull out this book.
While you're looking at that, I'll tell my Atchison
let's
story.
hear Atchison story.
So
Yes.
Jamie and I had just recently moved to Kansas, and I had given up on paranormal investigations. I was like, I'm done. My wife's not really on board with this. Well, at the time, she was still my girlfriend. She was still freaked out about it, and I was like, new life, starting over. We're not doing this anymore. So the first 2 weeks we moved to Kansas October 5th of 2016. So it was Halloween season. I went to the Field of Screams. I went to the Haunted Cannery. We went to a whole bunch of haunted houses because that's what I like to do. I like scary things. So I'm Googling haunted houses near me. And the one that came up was the Sally House. So I was like, the Sally House, that's a weird name for a haunted attraction. So I'm like reading and I'm like, oh, this is real shit. Okay, no, I'm not bringing my wife to a real haunted house. Like, she doesn't like this shit. So I forgot about it. At the time, I was still working from home for a company based in Michigan, actually. And I was here in Kansas, so I was doing remotely. And one of the girls on my team was like, oh, you live in Kansas now. Have you been to the Sally House? And I was like, what's the Sally House? Like, I've read about it one time, but I didn't really go in depth about it because I was trying to look for a fake haunted house. And she was like, yeah, there's demons in the basement. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll check that out sometime. So things start happening in our house in Augusta. I start trying to research history about my house in Augusta, that all of these things were happening. And I'm on Google, and I think I Googled like Augusta City Records or something like that. And it popped up like it was like Augusta Municipal, Augusta, whatever things happening in downtown Augusta. Miller 5, which is like a little restaurant down there, that popped up, and then it says Atchison Sally House. None of the other like web pages had anything other than Augusta except for this one. It said Atchison, so it wasn't like it was like it starts with an A in Kansas, so here you go. And I'm like, all right, that's like the third time that this has reached out to me. That's kind of weird. Did a little bit of reading, found out a little bit of the story about it, and I was like, well, I still need to figure out what's going on in my house. That night, Jamie and I went to bed. If anyone knows my wife, we watch Disney movies when we go to bed. This is a known fact. It is public information. We watch Disney movies when we go to sleep, unless it's Shark Week, and then we watch sharks.
Right?
Okay. So she goes, babe, just go ahead and throw on whatever you want. So I threw on the Travel Channel. Ghost Adventures was on. And it was about some place in Mississippi that they were investigating. People know how I feel about that show and about the people on that show, so let's not get into that. But I was just like, okay, whatever, this is good for a laugh, and I'm watching.
You know, I've never watched that show.
I mean, if you want a good laugh, you can.
I have no desire.
The first 3 seasons, pretty solid. After that, I just think it's a circus. But the next day, I got off work, my wife got off work, we went out to dinner, we came home, and we walk into our living room, and there's a little red light on our DVR box. And I was like, do you have something recording? And she goes, no, do you? And I said, not that I know of, not at like 5:30 at night. Like, I don't know what I could be recording. So we go to our DVR to see what it is, and it's an episode of the Ghost Adventurers, The Sally House. And I went, okay.
That's interesting.
Okay. So we sat down and we watched this episode.
Did you actually go there yet? I mean, have you actually been?
Hold on.
I'm not allowed to, and I'll tell you why. If you know anything about the Sally House, the woman and her husband that were renting the property at their time, her name is Debbie Pickman.
Right.
I reached out to her on Facebook because this just kept happening. It was almost every day that something about Atchison and the Sally House was presenting itself to me. So I told her, I said, look, I'm not from here. I don't even know how far I am from Atchison, to be honest with you. I'm new to the area. This is what's happening. And she wrote me back a very long paragraph explaining how I am never to go into the Sally House. That whatever my gifts are, either realized or not realized, that they want them in that house. And it would be a very bad thing for me and my family to ever go up there. However, if I would like to come up there, she would gladly meet with me and take me to other places. So I have yet to be to the Sally House. My wife still tells me I can't go. Not allowed.
Interesting. I have a very different take of Sally House based on some dreams that I had, but I have never been there either. So, and I was invited once, but I did not go. So.
Was it the Commerce or was it Debbie Pickman?
Actually, I was actually invited by a paranormal team.
Oh, okay.
Who was going there to spend the night? So.
Oh hell.
I've known a couple teams that I talked to, or I used to talk to on the regular, that have gone and done investigations there, and I've looked through their evidence, and there's a lot of interesting things that I wish I could experience for myself to fully understand it more. Because also when you film evidence, you're just like, did that really happen, or was somebody standing off to the side, or not
right.
that I'm saying that those teams would do that, but
yeah, I feel like that's how most people see what I do, is like, if I don't have something to back it up, they just think it's just me. Like, oh, that's just her saying that. So I found the picture that I drew, which is horribly, like, really bad. So see, I don't know how to do it. I can't see it behind it, but can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the image of the first floor as I saw it in my mind, which, mind you, was a real quick, hey, let me sketch this out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was like the top. So I don't know, it's somewhere in there. Can you see it there?
Can you pull it just a little?
Do what?
Could you pull it back, the thing back just a little? Okay, yeah, that's better. I got you. Okay.
So you can see it now?
Yeah.
So the weird thing is, like, these are the images that I had in my mind. So I just kind of sketched it real quick, like on this piece of paper. I'm like, please don't think like this is to scale or anything like that. So I asked her to look it up, and she told me, basically that it was reversed of what I sent her. But now I'm like, oh, well, I did take a picture of it to send to her. So it's possible that it could have come across different, right?
Can you hold that up again real quick?
Yeah. Which one, the top floor or the bottom floor?
You could do both, just one at a time, whatever one's first.
Okay, so this is the bottom. I think you can see the whole thing in there. Yep. And you can see off to the side, you can probably see where I wrote the date when I drew it. So, and then I had this one was the other one that I had. Far enough back for you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm a little sneaky sneak, and I pulled up the Villisca Axe Murder House layout just now to compare, and there's only one thing you're missing from the top floor, and that's the attic.
Right. It just I have that there was the crawl space to the attic. Yeah, and I just have that it says attic crawl because it to me the visual that they gave me was kind of like this was a little crawl space where you go through like a closet. They showed me the image of like you go through a closet and it opens up into this big space, right? And so in the visual they showed me, there was like these, well, they're piss pots is what they were. I maybe shouldn't have said that.
You're fine.
Like
you said much worse.
Okay, so they're like, night jars is what they used to call them, I guess. And they were in the closet. That's the image that they showed me. They were in the closet. And so
that's the layout right there.
And so like I have, okay, so can you see this? Like, this is like, I was writing down this information, like, this is how it's so sloppy. It was just coming to me and I just kept writing all this stuff that I was getting. And I have pages, like 3 pages of it.
Hey, Lena, you said you saw 2 little girls.
Yes. The first little girl that came to me, she said her name was Catherine, and she kept saying to me 10 of 12. And so I was like, okay. And then the next little girl that came to me, her name was Lena. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's why she came to me, because her name is Lena, right? Because I thought, well, since I'm Lena, maybe that drew her to me. So they kept telling me things like, this was Catherine's home. Lena didn't live there, but she was there with her sister, and her sister was Ida. And let me see, there was, let's see, based on what it says here, they told me there was 3 children, 2 adults, 1 adult cousin family member who was a part of the family that they talked about. And then there were 2 other children. And that was the first part when they told me. So then as we go through it, I got this little dark-haired female girl that she said she was 9 or 10. I guessed her to be 9 or 10. She's the one that was saying 10 of 12 to me, which I later, I did find out that this happened on like June 10th of 1912 or some shit, or some stuff like that. Excuse my language. Anyway, so that kind of wigged me out a little bit. But then it says each of the children had a different visual of what happened, because one of the girls, Catherine, actually was able to see some of this happening. And so she experienced it because she died after the brothers. So there was a boy, I believe the oldest boy, based on what they told me, was named Herman. And then there was a boy named Paul, but I don't know which is which. If they're one, it says that the boys were younger. So I think there was one boy that was the oldest, then Catherine, then Paul, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
And then it says some parents' names. I'm scribbling all over the side. It says he put the lamp down on the stairs, at the top of the stairs. This was some sort of oil lamp or lantern. That's what they showed me visually. He did have an axe, and the visual they showed me was like him swinging the axe and how it hit. Like when it hit the bed, it made the bed go down, and they had these like springs on the bed in the image that they showed me. So the bed was like that spring bed there at the bottom, And then the baby was murdered. And I think that was the baby, like that he was Paul, maybe. And that's the crib type. Like it looked like that in my visual, except obviously a crib. Like it was not it's 3-dimensional. But yeah, I'm not an artist. So and then they told me that there was, let's see, that he had went in through a window and he hid there and they were gone. And when they came, they said they were gone to church, that she was going to spend the night. This Lena was going to spend the night. And Catherine tried to warn Lena, but couldn't get her attention because I think Catherine was already dead when she was trying to tell Lena. Because Lena and her sister were in a sewing room when this happened. And based on what they showed me, they had left like this. Well, Catherine kept saying he took my daddy's shoes. He took my daddy's shoes. I don't know why he took my daddy's shoes. And they kept telling me that people would come in and put these ropes in there and they didn't know why the ropes were there. And they were showing me what looked to me like an orange extension cord that was going up the stairs. And it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why do they keep calling it a rope? Well, then I realized, well, duh, they probably didn't have electric back then. So that would to them be a little strange to have that in their space. So then I'm thinking, well, they must be talking about something more modern, right? And then they said, we told them, but they don't do anything to help us. And that made me think that these little girls, like we tell them we need help, but they don't do anything to help us. Made me feel like these little girls maybe were having like, reliving. Yeah, like they were reliving this over and over because people are coming in and no one would listen to them. And so
have you done any extra, like have you looked into this house at all since like all this information and you reaching out to someone?
No, this is actually the first time I've even pulled it out of I had it in this envelope. And this first time I've pulled it out in like, I don't know, since then.
So I don't want to give you any information, of course, because I really hope one day that you actually get to do this, like go there and experience it. I am going to ask a question though that will give you a little bit of information, but hopefully it doesn't ruin everything. The 10 of 12. Do you know what year the axe murders happened?
Well, no, like I started feeling like it was 1910 or 1912. And then I figured that because they were showing me 10 of 12, at first I thought it was the kid's age. Like the girl was 10 and then Lena was 12. But then I felt like, because I wrote here, it says they were very healthy, smart, happy children. And then I said, I feel like this happened in 1910 to 1912. I wrote, guide says 10 of 12 too. So then I kept seeing like June in my head. So I thought maybe June 10th of 1912. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. And then it says, the little girl she tells me he killed my family. And she said it like she was in shock and no one will help. They come here, but they will not help. And then it says she wants to help, but feels helpless because she can't stop it. It's almost like she was kind of showing me over and over. And then she said she could move things, like they moved things like balls and pianos, but the electric cord they called a rope. And she said they pull it out. And my guide said they unplug it. And that's why I was like, oh, it has to be a cord. Like for some reason they're unplugging these cords. Right. And she showed me the path, like she's screaming and crying. And she shows the door swings open and then closed, and then she's dead. And it says the others were downstairs, and I can't see him do it, but she said something about him washing his hands in a tub or bowl, like a sink, but it's not a sink. And then she showed me purple flowers on an old butcher block type table, and then some streaks of blood that were brushed on the walls. And she also showed a room which was downstairs, and to my vision, it was to the left, which is where my guide said it was dark everywhere. There wasn't electric, and he covered up the windows and mirrors before he left before daylight too, according to the thing that they told me. He left before daylight. The small baby was like 2 or 3 years old. That's noted on here. And then she said he left and he took her daddy's shoes. And my guide told me that he may have been associated also with some other murders that may have happened in Kansas. But when he left, they actually accused the wrong man. They accused like a family member or something, according to the girl, and it wasn't him. And then she said, you can see, she said there was a Harold and a Harry, or Harry. They may have called him Harry. And it says, sure, there's an Eliza or an Elizabeth connected to this family. You can see the oval pictures on the wall. The woman in one of the pictures may not actually be the mother. She has a bun in her hair. It's turned slightly and not really a big smile. She's very elegantly dressed, but the pictures are black and white. And the name Henry is associated with the Villisca murders somehow, but not sure if he was family or accused. It says Henry did not commit the murders. I don't think he did it because the girls say, and the visual that my guide gives me shows that he is away from the home. We're also getting the name Alice or Allison with one of these associated with some of the crimes that maybe happened in Kansas. And then it says
crazy.
It says that he left the bowl on the table. He took some meat and wrapped it in some cloth or some sort of like knapsack type thing. My guide said it was bacon, or some sort of pork belly, and he had left it on the floor. And it doesn't make sense why he left it on the floor. The girl said it doesn't make sense why he left it on the floor. He took my daddy's shoes and he locked the door. And then it says he took the keys because he was planning to return. He had raped Lena, and she tried to yell for help, but then he dragged her on the floor. And I got the image that he threw her back onto the bed, and that she laid sideways across the edge of the bed. And then he had also he killed the woman, not the father figure. The father figure he killed first, hitting him in the face multiple times with the axe, but not the sharp end of the axe, the blunt end of the axe. And then, wow. Yeah, it's a lot. I wrote it, and it's very scattered because I just wrote it as I was getting it.
So here's the funny thing about all of this for everyone listening. I know that we're like an hour past, but that's fine because this is what we do best.
Good stuff.
It's good stuff. I am going to tell you that it did happen in 1912.
It did?
Yes.
Very cool.
I am also, and this is what's crazy to me. So, Lena, how long ago did you write that roughly?
May 19th of 2013. I wrote the date here at the top. Can you see it?
The article that I have in front of me right now was published June 9th of 2022.
Oh.
Literally a couple months ago.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. So, and I've been looking through articles, and there's things here and things here. However, the date that this happened was June 10th, 1912.
So it was June 10th, 1912.
It was.
That's awesome. That makes me happy. So now the names, like went through these names, like it says, I see inside a very narrow, steep set of stairs. They had deep stairs, like they were tall, but they were very narrow widthwise. And the top stairs at the room The first part of the room was having a double bed where the parents slept. One room.
Your map was almost spot on. Like I
They
could
were
have laid it over the image that they posted.
Cool. So the crib in the one room, and then there was like a double bed and a twin bed in an L shape, according to what they're showing me in the thing. And I seen those springs on the bed. Like that was a really important part for them for some reason. I'm
gonna show everyone why that's important here in 1 second. Because I mean, again, this article was posted a couple months ago, so you couldn't have read this and wrote it down.
Right. I don't look that stuff up. And to be honest, I wrote on here the date that I sent it to my friend too. I wrote that I asked her to check about the room, the shape of it, or the building shape of it on May 22nd of 2013. And then
so here's one of the beds.
May 25th is when she contacted me back and told me in 2013 that it was a reversed image. That's a bed.
That's one
okay.
Of the beds.
So I can't see it very good because it's itty bitty tiny on my screen.
See if I can like zoom in. Let me get rid of that. I do not know how to zoom in on this shit.
Enhance.
Yeah, I mean, can you see it a little bit better now?
Oh yeah, that's kind of that's kind of creepy, but cool.
Yeah,
a little creepy.
Honestly, like I'm reading through this article as you're speaking, just kind of seeing if things match up, and it is crazy that they do. I can tell you that I don't want to give you too much information because, again, I hope you really get to go and experience this. But you reading what you had written down was like you were reading this article and just kind of jumping through the article in different places, going back, then going over here, then going over here, but almost verbatim.
Well, and the image they gave me, the one little girl, the image I saw of the one little girl, it says she came to me. She had big eyes, long curly dark hair, freckles, and chubby cheeks. She was maybe 10 or 12 years old, and that's when I wrote that. I feel like she had watched over the others, like she was watching them, and that would be the Catherine girl, the girl named Catherine. And the other girl was named Lena. Her sister was named Ida. And Ida and Catherine, according to the girls, had decided to spend the night after this church function that they went to. And when, then they all went to bed, and evidently that man was there. Now, I do know that there was, according to the little girl, he left cigarettes in the house. He also took her daddy's shoes, and she was really upset about the fact that they took his shoes, and that he took her daddy's shoes, and they didn't know about it. Like the police didn't see that. They didn't catch that he had taken the shoes. And they told me I saw an image of what he looked like, by the way. Real rough, kind of rugged face, rough, dark hair, that type of thing, bigger guy. He definitely had on some sort of like plaid or flannel type shirt, because he looked like he had been traveling, like he'd been traveling. So he didn't look like he belonged there. I do know that the father figure, I think his name was Harold or Harry, maybe Howard, because it's an H name. And this guy, based on what I got, maybe he had something to do with farming tractors. I think tractors, because they kept showing me different old style tractors. So, but I don't know for sure about him. Oh, yeah. Who's that one? Which one is that one? That's Catherine. Isn't it? Yes. Ha! I'm not crazy. So
No,
So
but I think that the name that you're looking for is actually going to be Hank.
Hank, interesting. Interesting. It makes sense because it's an H name, you know. So because when I get them, sometimes I suck at names, which is really crazy. I usually suck at names, and they told me about Herman and Paul and this Eliza and some Susan. It says Susan was possibility of being connected to the family or a neighbor of the family, and I don't understand why he covered up the mirrors. That kind of weirds me out, like, because I know a lot of psychics who, well, a few psychics who are really freaked out by mirrors because they can see things in mirrors that they don't want to see, and
Yeah.
so to me,
There's
it's
also
like,
a psychological content to that too.
yeah, like, was he, ashamed of what he did, or was he afraid it would reflect back to him? And why? And they showed me images of him like just throwing things over the mirrors. And then to me, it was just like all of it was coming so fast. I kept seeing these things, like even now when I think about it, I can flash back to what they were showing me in my head. You know what I mean? And there was like this when you go into from the kitchen into this parlor area, there's like an old like a potbelly type wood stove in there, and on the wall around the other side there was like these oval pictures. Like I could see the oval pictures in my head, and the girl said, "That's not my mom. That's not my mama. That's not mama." But they seem to have a belief that that was the mother for some reason in that picture, but she says it's not mama. So whoever she is, they're maybe mistaken about what she looks like, because evidently that's not mama in that picture. And then, unless I'm crazy, which at this point
I don't think you're crazy. I mean, Jeff, what do you think about all this right now? Like you're going it over with us right now.
I
obviously have
I found an article, kind of a timeline with it, dealing with the Villisca axe murder. And yeah, like how you were saying it, I'm probably reading a different article than you are on it. That kind of gives a timeline of the events that happened in that day, and kind of more or less of how a person got away with it.
Is it on DocuBlogger?
No, it is actually.
Go up to the top where you see Villisca, Iowa, June 9th, 1912. When was that published?
June 9th of 2022.
That is the same article that I am reading.
Right. So you're seeing,
and you can look through all those pictures, and it's almost exactly what she's describing. I mean, the names.
Oh yeah, for a good part. Well, okay. The picture, I didn't see a picture of Catherine that you mentioned, at least on this one. The two pictures that I see are of Lena and
Ida.
Right.
So if you go down far enough, there's a picture of 4 children.
I think Ida had more red tint in her hair than Lena did. Lena also had dark hair. She was slightly taller than Catherine, slightly older, I believe, because the image that she showed me, maybe 2 years old. They were very close age-wise, and they had my understanding was all the kids would come to their house. This was the place where everybody played together. This was like, and so it's weird that there was like, that they were so popular and people wouldn't know this happened. Like, why would they not? So to me, I figured maybe they were trying to say like it happened and then nobody came, so nobody noticed. But I don't really understand that really. But that's what they kept saying to me.
They're saying her name is Ina, I-N-A.
I-D-A. Ida. Lena and Ida.
Well, they're saying that these 2 girls are them. I know you can't really see it because it's small.
Right.
But they're saying that Lena is the eldest of the 2, which you said earlier.
Right.
So that makes me think that it's this girl here, where you can tell that her hair, I know it's very small for you, but you could tell her hair is a different shade than her sister.
Right. Right.
And then when you go down to here, you have Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul.
Oh, holy
So
crap.
that being Catherine.
It's their actual names?
Yep.
Holy crap. Holy crap, Angel.
Also,
I'm
whenever
a little happy right now.
Also, whenever you were mentioning a Henry a few times.
The police watchman.
Right. That was very involved in the aftermath of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
And
maybe
probably-
he's the one who didn't notice the shoes being taken.
Right.
Interesting.
So I find it funny because there's a picture on here of like the two parents and two of the kids. I'm guessing like Herman, and I'm not sure which baby. But if you look at the picture on the very bottom of the picture, because you can tell they took a picture of a picture, it's an oval picture.
Oh. Interesting. Well, I know that there was pictures too, according to Catherine, there was pictures of her family on her wall in her room, but her room she shared with her brothers also. And so, I mean, that's the image that she showed me. And like I said, they had like chamber pot type things in this closet. So,
yeah, 1912.
Yeah, and I think that they actually had went in there, and he was actually hiding right there in that space, but they didn't see him there. Like she made it a point to say she saw him come out, but then she was scared, and she was like, I was really scared, and I didn't know how to help anybody. Like she watched them do it. But she was like 10 years old, you know, what was she going to do? Right. Because she was just a little kid. Or at least I think she was 10.
So it's funny because if you read further on, this is a very big article. They are connecting this crime possibly to a murder in Colorado Springs and in Ellsworth, Kansas.
Interesting. So I don't know if he did those first. I think he did the Kansas ones first.
Yeah.
And then came to then he went
those
to,
were documented in 1911.
Yeah, so I felt like he did those first, and then he came to Iowa, and then he went out. According to what they showed me, is he goes out the back door and into some cornfield and off into a wooded area, and then he doesn't come back. Like he didn't come back, but I think he was planning to come back, and I think that's why he locked the door and took the key.
Wow.
Because they showed me that he locked the door and took the key. And they think he came in through a window in the kitchen, an open window in the kitchen.
That is crazy. And then the rest of the article kind of gets crazier because they say that the Lizzie Borden axe murder could be connected as well.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure when this article I'm reading is from iowacoldcases.org, but they do mention two interesting things at the murder scene that was super bizarre. And that was first that there was bacon against the wall next to the axe. And then that the person who committed the murders was looking for some kind of pieces of clothing to cover up mirrors in the house.
It's crazy.
Here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to show you two different pictures, okay? Or
I
I'm going
do
to try
know
to.
they
Anyway.
showed me. They also showed me the image. The little girl showed me the image of before he went in and murdered Lena and Ida or Ina or whatever her name was. I got Ida, but before he went in to murder her, he laid that axe on that butcher block table for a second, and it dripped blood on the floor. And she showed me that it was dripping on the floor. And then he went in and killed the little girl first, and then he raped Lena. And yeah, Sorry, that's probably maybe a little more graphic for. We probably should have gave a warning about it. Sorry.
I will put a disclosure on YouTube. So there is 2 things that I want to show you. See if I can do it this way. Okay. Can you see those pictures at all?
Barely, but I can kind of see them.
Okay. I would like for you to point or tell me which photo is of the dad.
Of the dad?
Yeah, you said that you had a visual of the dad.
I don't know if I can make it bigger. Hold on. Let me see if I can make it bigger. If I turn it sideways, maybe it'll get a little bigger for me.
I wish it gave me like a thing to like. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. Crap. Oh, well. There we go.
Yeah, the image I get like is not a bearded man, so I'm going to go with the one on the right.
Okay, so that is the father.
Yeah, and
of the girls.
The mom and the girls, right?
However, you mentioned a very burly man earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what the killer guy looks like, except more. He had longer hair in the image they showed me, kind of rough and rugged kind of look.
So this picture right here, this man, is the one who is thought to actually be the killer.
Oh,
that was never. He was never found because the one witness who pointed her finger at him died.
Oh, interesting.
And her name was Alice.
Oh, that's who Alice. So Alice, according to what they told me, this Alice or Allison, she had something to do with knowing about him being a killer in one of the crimes also that was in Kansas. And it I wrote
things we learned.
I wrote the word Lee.
That is one name that does not pop up in this.
I don't know why it says that, because it's just like it says Kansas Lee involved. I don't know what that. I mean, it could be just that I was writing really fast, so it may be another word that I can't read. Because I got to be real, it's very sloppy.
So you were saying the picture of the guy, right?
Yeah.
Who is that? The one who you think is the suspect?
F.F. Jones, yeah.
Okay, because the one that I'm reading, at least from this different case, is they're going with a reverend who is traveling named George Kelly, who would have been who traveled through, but they had done some search on him like 5 years later, interrogating, but nothing confirmed.
Interesting.
Very interesting. We're gonna have to like visit this closer to Halloween and actually dive deep into it.
Yeah,
see if we can come up
with
any.
My interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I'm down.
Let me know because I want to tune in.
Oh no, you're going to be a part of it. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're the one who reintroduced this to me. So
it might be the Thursday after Halloween. However, I don't care because Halloween is year round for me.
Yeah.
Right. Well, keep me posted because it's been long enough that now I do want to. I mean, I wrote this almost 10 years ago. Like I got this almost 10 years ago, and I've been having it in this folder, this envelope or whatever, all this time because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose it. And I actually had my husband go down and hunt for it probably 2 weeks ago. He went down and hunted our basement to find the envelope because I had it put on a shelf forever. And I was looking for it for another reason, and I never did pull it out and look at it because we ended up not talking.
Well, the real reason was you were going to be on All the Mess.
Right? And here I get to talk freely about what I want to, right? Instead of publicly about, because a lot of times, I'm talking about just reading and the tarot and not, in some of the weird stuff I get, like the first time I ever saw, I was actually helping my kids get ready for school, and I saw this woman on TV, and she was singing, you could tell she was singing because the way her voice was moving, but I had it on mute. And I was waiting for them to announce whether or not school was going to be closed that day. So I would know if I had to send my kids to school. And as soon as I looked at her, I saw this like image in my head of her stabbing some dude, like over and over and over and over again. And so then I just started getting all this information throughout the whole day. Like, and I'm like, what is that? You know, like, what is going on with that? Well, later, I kind of got this image of her again, and I started getting like how it happened, what was happening. And then my friend she mentioned this girl's name, and I was like, oh, that's the girl. And she's like, what are you talking about? And it was the same friend I sent this to, actually, because we had a conversation about this Jody person killing her boyfriend named Travis. And I could totally see how she did it, where she did it, what it looked like. I was like, I'm telling you, there's like a little chip or something that shows the pictures that she took pictures of this stuff. And so, you know, my friend was kind of skeptical at first, you know, about what I said, but then she started watching some trial or something that was on TV. And she's like, Lena, I'm going to tell you if you're right. I'm going to tell you if you're right. And then I started getting images of Travis coming to me. And he showed me things like a ring, that there was a ring that was missing. And he showed me like these letters, which happened to match the company that he worked for, according to her. And so I had all this stuff that I was getting and telling her, and she was coming back and telling me, well, that was accurate. That was accurate. And I just saw, like, what was it, a week ago, I think? Yeah, about a week ago, that there's a movie out about it now. I'm like, I gotta watch that movie. I'm like,
I think that's what we should do. I think we should take like an old, like, I don't know, like a cold case or just like an old case or something like that, and like the three of us just like dig into it and see like what you get and what we can find. And I think that's going to be a special segment.
I have done some work on a cold case in the past, and they actually closed that case. They actually solved that one. So I don't know how much help I was to them, but I did do a little bit of that in the past. So it's kind of a fun thing. And, you know, at the same time, it's kind of like you want to know things and you just don't know until you get some validation. I just get weird stuff. Sometimes I look at people and go, uh-oh, he's not good. You know,
that happens.
Other times I'm like having this feeling like, oh, this is a good person. This is a really great person. So
yeah,
anyway,
that's great. That's
so
awesome.
I made you go way over your time now. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Jeff and I are like nerding out over here, like doing internet research. And
like how you were mentioning it, because like I was like, because you had mentioned the whole the Colorado Springs, the Ellsworth, the thing. So I was like, okay, let me keep reading, because I saw something about 100 years later. So in 2004, they released a documentary dealing with the Villisca Axe murders, taking it from the perspective of it being one of America's first serial killers, but nothing to really hardcore back it up, based on the Monmouth, Illinois killing, the Ellsworth, Kansas killing, and the Colorado Springs killing.
So there was
apparently Lizzie Borden.
Interesting.
Right.
So okay, so weird thing too about that.
There's a documentary series and a movie in 2012.
Yep.
Interesting. So the weird thing is, like, I didn't even recognize until you said it's been like 100 years, I went, oh, wow, it really has.
Yeah, like whenever you were writing that first note for it, it would have been approximately around almost 101 years before that time.
Yeah, that's just crazy. That never even occurred to me. I could see it like what's happening.
In May of 2013. So yeah, right. It's been really close to the 101st, like 101 years later. Kind of thing.
Right, and I think the first information I got was when I asked my guide on March 31st of 2013. That was the first information I got, and that had to do with she had mentioned that I had seen a murder. I had seen a murder, and then it shows I was getting a name associated with it, because I didn't I couldn't get a visual of this Henry person. I kept getting the name Henry, but couldn't get a visual of Henry. So I didn't know if he was actually associated it or something else, but that was like May 31st or March 31st, I think, is when they first appeared to me the very first time. And then I closed everything off because I kept getting images of it for like weeks. It would come to me middle of the night. I would re-see, like I was reliving it myself, and so I'm like writing down things as I was getting them. And then the fact that they kept showing these pictures, I kept trying to figure out, well, who's this person? Like I was asking the girl, who is this person? Who is this person? And the image of the father, keep in mind, I saw the father's face all like bad. But then the image of the father that she showed me picture-wise didn't show him having a facial hair of any kind. And so that's why I had to say like that one looked like it had to be the one to me, because he did not have that same. He was also a smaller build, smaller stature. I didn't see him as a big man. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll definitely dive further into this. And maybe like do a whole episode on it or something special edition on it or something like that. Try to gather more information and dive into it. See if we can actually like talk to some people, maybe have some other people weigh in or just give statements. That would be fun.
Yeah. And I'm going to just stick it all right back in this little envelope.
That works for me.
Right now, I'm going to put it right back in my briefcase where it's been for the last 2 to 3 weeks. So,
well, Lena, we've definitely enjoyed having you on the show. I've loved it. I love spending all the time I can with you because I do need my Lena time.
Well, I appreciate you, and I hope we attracted some good people to you and didn't scare anybody off with my crazy stories.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean, I might gain more followers, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, many blessings.
All right. Well, okay, guys, tune in next week where Jeff and I talk about something.
We'll figure out what to talk about.
It's spooky season for me, so odds are it's probably going to be something spooky.
Gotta be something spooky.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, of course. I love you.
It's been great.
All right, y'all. Well, see you then. Thanks for tuning in.
Snorlax is going to rest. Snore, Snorlax.
All right, y'all.